Hey, I'm Hallie, and we are starting with that news out of Vienna, where officials say they are canceling multiple Taylor Swift shows, part of her Eras tour, out of safety concerns. This is after police there say they uncovered what they describe as an ISIS-linked terror plot, arresting 2 men connected to this and potentially narrowly avoiding a horrific nightmare. I want to show you here. This is what Swift's website looks like right now here. Under each of the concert dates, it says that all tickets will be automatically refunded within the next 10 days. The shows were supposed to start tomorrow night and go into the weekend. It's important to note here, this attack was not directly targeting Swift herself, but apparently, according to officials, it did hone in on her concerts. Federal and state police in Austria say it was part of a plan to attack major events across Vienna. They say the men they arrested were apparently radicalized through the internet. Tom Winter is all over this developing story for us tonight, so bring us up to speed, Tom. What do we know and where does this go?
Sure, Hallie. So right now, authorities in Austria, according to 2 U.S. officials briefed on the investigation, say that they are looking for one or perhaps multiple individuals who may have had some knowledge of this attack. And so that's new. And as we heard from those Austrian police officials earlier today, this is an active and ongoing investigation. To let people know how all this came about, the Austrians put these individuals under some form of surveillance. They were on top of what they were plotting. And one of the individuals, the 19-year-old who was arrested in Lower Austria, was in the process of purchasing chemicals and had purchased some chemicals that could have been used to develop a bomb. At some point, they were running kind of close to this weekend's events. And just to be clear here, it wasn't as if they were looking at this weekend in Vienna and said, well, we want to conduct an attack. What's playing? What's happening in Vienna? No, they were very specifically focused, we are told, on the Taylor Swift concert and these large events there. Obviously, you're talking about 65,000 people that would have been attending this concert, another 15 to 20,000 that would have been in downtown Vienna proper. And so this obviously had significant concerns. And I think one of the things that they would have been worried about, just based on prior investigations, okay, if the way they were going to conduct this attack was not going to be available to them, would they have conducted an attack another way? And I think that was going to be the concern here, based on officials that we've spoken to about how this investigation went down, and they said, you know what's the safest thing to do? Put handcuffs on these people and get them behind bars.
Okay, but help us understand this, because over the course of the last couple of hours here, as this has unfolded and as we've learned more of these details, it sounded like initially officials in Austria said they were not planning to cancel the concerts. Obviously, now we're seeing this update on the website. If you go and click through the links, you see a statement from the organizer saying, you know, these shows have been canceled out of basically an abundance of caution, out of safety concerns here, Tom. Why the flip?
Right. So I think, one, officials are typically loath to say to an event, you must cancel, unless they think, look, there's just no way you're going to be able to put this on without somebody getting injured or worse. Number 2, I think they felt that they had a pretty good plan in place. Austria has a team called the Cobra team, which is kind of analogous to the FBI's HRT or hostage rescue team, or the NYPD's ESUA team. These are people with heavy weapons that are trained to really face a threat like the type of threat that they could have been facing here. I think ultimately, though, if you're an event organizer, you have to look at the liability, you have to look at the concern, and I'm sure there were people, because some of our own colleagues who were planning on attending this show reached out to me, that had some concerns and perhaps some second thoughts. So I think that that all goes into the calculus here. I think this event probably could have gone off. And there is a school of thought, Hallie, here, that when you cancel these events, and people do understand the concerns of the organizers and the performer and all those that would have wanted to attend, that you might be playing into the hands of a potential terrorist here. That's always something to consider.
So where does this go next, Tom? And do we have a sense of timeline for how this investigation plays out? You mentioned they are still looking for anybody who might be linked to or have any knowledge of this alleged plot.
Right. I think there's a lot that's going on here behind the scenes. And I think to take a quick step back here, Hallie, there have been a number of potential plots on the Olympics itself that were foiled prior to this. There have been a number of other incidents in Europe, all with some ties or connective tissue to ISIS. And so I think people have to be concerned that there remains this threat. And it's something the FBI has talked about on the record from the director himself out of his own mouth. So there is definitely a concern of a heightened terrorism environment. That environment environment was increasing prior to Hamas's attack on October 7th and has only gotten worse from there. So this is something that law enforcement is acutely aware of. And I think when this chapter is finally written, or this book on this particular attack is written, it's going to show an awful lot of coordination among law enforcement agencies around the globe in some work here that perhaps stopped something that could have been quite serious.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.